So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jacqueline Monterroso. I am the Director of Policy and Advocacy at Latinos for Education, and I'm also the Vice Chair of the Revere School Committee. I'm so excited to host my full-time job, a passion I have in the city I love, and it's just so amazing to have you all here tonight. I'm the first Latina ever elected in the city, and I think that just connects with the work that we're all doing. Today we gather with state leaders, educators, students, advocates, and families from across the Commonwealth to celebrate making history together. The passage of the Educator Diversity Act last November was a pivotal moment, not only for Massachusetts, but for the entire nation. I became a kindergarten teacher because growing up, I never had a teacher who looked like me. Even when I was teaching, I was only one of 3 Latinx teachers, and I taught in Miami. And so this work is just so important. Our advocacy and our accomplishments are near and dear to my heart because I was that. So many of us were that student. We are that teacher looking for supports, looking for a space. And so it's so important that we're here together today. And so as we kick off the night, I want to thank everyone who did make tonight possible because at 8 months pregnant, today is not okay. Wouldn't have happened without any of you. So a big thank you to all our team that is here that helped us. Our coalition, we are a coalition of over 50 organizations from teacher unions to the Charter School Association to ed prep programs, and together we made this happen. And so I really want to thank our sponsoring coalition partners as well, starting out with the Massachusetts Public Charter School Association, Ed Trust Massachusetts, Making the Grade Project, the Massachusetts Alliance for Early College, and Educators for Excellence Massachusetts. Thanks to them, we all get to eat really great food from La Oaxaqueña, a local business out here in Revere and in East Boston. And so in addition to our coalition partners and sponsors, can we please give a big hand to La Oaxaqueña staff? I also don't know where Eddie and Mark are, but they're the amazing Revere Public School custodians who made sure we got all this set up in time, so a big thank you to them. And to our amazing singer for the night, Aaron. Now, before I pass it over, I do want to introduce some important state leaders and allies that really helped us make this work possible, because without them in the building, we wouldn't have gotten this historic law passed. So I will ask that you saved your applause until the end so that we don't miss anyone's name. But I really want to thank State Senator Adam Gomez for being here. Look at y'all listening to instructions. I mean, it's all good. We have State Representative Jessica Giannino. State Rep Manny Cruz. The Mayor of Revere, Patrick Keefe. We have Chelsea School Committee Member Katy Cabral. Chelsea City Councilors Kelly Garcia and Melinda Vega. Lawrence School Committee Member Myra Ortiz. And our Commissioner for the Massachusetts Department of Higher Education, Noah Ortega. And Eric Berg, from the President of the Boston Teachers Union. And so now it is with great honor that I would like to welcome up Latinos for Education CEO and founder, Amanda Fernandez.
All right, bienvenidos a todos. Buenas noches. ¿Qué tal? I hope everyone's great tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It is so humbling to be here before you today to talk about and celebrate this historic bill that was passed, the Educator Diversity Act. Never in my wildest dreams in starting this organization would I have imagined that we could convene people from all over Massachusetts, from organizations, from school districts, that were committed to one cause, because we all came together to believe that it's essential that we have representation, that we have more educators that share the backgrounds of our students and our families. It matters. And it will always matter, because right now this state continues to grow in its diversity. So we not only needed to do it now, but we'll need to keep at it in the future. So thank you, Jacqueline, for your great opening and hosting us here tonight in Revere. It's really special to be able to do that. And of course, a special shout out to all of the Latinos for Education team in Massachusetts that are here tonight for all that we've collectively done to get this bill done and to continue the advocacy work that we do. It's just such a joy and such a victory that it's so funny to say it's a victory. It's really cool to say that. It was a victory. That was 4 years in the making. And me not being super, so I've learned a lot about policy and advocacy. I'll tell you that. This is not my background. And I had to really come along and really understand what it takes. And I didn't understand the enormity of what it really takes to get this done. And then to get it done in 4 years, wow. This will truly be one of the hallmarks of my career and in leading Latinos for Education. So I just want to express some gratitude, and then I'm going to turn it over to our next speaker. But this wouldn't be possible without our legislative champions. So State Representative and Assistant Majority Leader Alice Paish, and Senator and Co-Chairman of the Joint Committee of Education, Jason Lewis, and the Black and Latino Caucus, and the nearly 90 legislators who stood by our side throughout this journey and really supported us. Your determination and vision were instrumental in turning this powerful idea into what will be a transformative reality for our students and our families. We thank you for prioritizing equity, for believing in the power of collective voice, and for investing in the promise of diverse, inclusive classrooms for children across the Commonwealth. I also want to thank Governor Healy, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and the Department of Higher Education for recognizing the urgency of this legislation and partnering with us to ensure its passage. Your support and commitment have been pivotal, demonstrating what's possible when government and community work hand in hand to shape a brighter future for our citizens. Of course, tonight would not be possible without the collective power of our coalition partners, as Jackie said. Each organization and individual represented here tonight, from education leaders to advocates to students and families. We had students advocating, we had families come and speak to our legislators. They played such a crucial role in raising awareness, amplifying voices, and creating momentum that simply could not be ignored. Again, this is a collective victory. So this is not only historic, it truly is transformational. The Educator Diversity Act signifies more than just legislation. It represents hope and progress for students who will finally see themselves more reflected in the educators guiding their journeys. For educators of color, it marks a new era, one where their talent and potential are recognized, celebrated, and nurtured, when that just doesn't happen enough. So it's so great to say we see you and we want more of you in our classrooms. This act is a commitment to addressing the longstanding inequities, because we know representation in our classrooms directly shapes the aspirations and successes of every student. Tonight we celebrate a milestone, and tomorrow, and actually not tomorrow, it's already happening, the work has started, because not only do you have to get a bill done, but you actually have to implement it, right? So now the work starts. And so with this legislation, we know that the support will continue to ensure that the provisions of the bill get implemented. Thank you again for joining us tonight, for your partnership, and for believing in the power of equity-driven leadership. Together, we're not just making history, but we're shaping the future of the students and families of Massachusetts. Thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you, Amanda, for your vision and fearless leadership. Oftentimes we think, can one person do it? And it takes one person having an idea and bringing this whole room together and starting an organization to help create that change. And so now, with deep appreciation, I would like to welcome my state representative, whose district we're in, the Honorable Representative Jessica Giannino.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the great city of Revere. I'm so excited to have you all here tonight, and it's really quite a fitting place as we kick this off, so thank you for being here. You know, this was my elementary school, so it's even more special, right? And I was reminded of how long ago it's been as I got up off that stool just a few seconds ago. But this is really a special place, and when you think about Latinos for Education, and their ability and Amanda's ability to bring people together, look at this room. We have union leaders, educators, superintendents, elected officials, parents, family members, students, mayors, municipal officials, state officials, all on the same page, all working together, all celebrating a win, a huge win. And that says a lot. Because I'll tell you, being a legislator and working on different pieces of legislation, and many of you in this room know that's not always the case. We're often on different sides of things and dealing with different situations and, you know, not always in 100% agreement, but I think this is something we all agree on 100%. We need more diversity in our classrooms. And this legislation is the start. And to be able to celebrate this landmark legislation right here in the city of Revere, one of our gateway communities, my home, my elementary school. It's really, really a special place. And, you know, I really want to start by thanking Amanda and the partners and advocates who fought tirelessly to get this bill across the finish line. Your dedication moved us closer to a future where every student, no matter their background, can see themselves reflected in their leaders standing before them in the classroom. This legislation is more than a policy win. It's a promise to our students and our communities that we'll invest in a growing, diverse, and talented educator workforce. When Leader Peisch hosted a briefing about this, we talked about DESE's goal that by 2030, we're going to get 25% diverse educators in our classroom. I know the city of Revere is working toward that. I know Springfield's working toward that. I know our gateway communities are working toward that. And I know with the leaders in this room, we're going to get Massachusetts working toward that because we have the right people together and we have the right leaders involved to make that happen. And I think that this legislation is more than just a policy when it's a promise. It's a promise that we're going to invest in this workforce, that we're going to respond to challenges that our schools have faced, especially by the pandemic. And I'm looking out to leaders in Revere, in Chelsea, and before redistricting, I had the honor of representing the city of Chelsea. See all my Chelsea friends in the back. And I see Gladys Vega, who was, I don't even have words, Gladys, for what you did during the COVID pandemic and what you and your team did during the COVID pandemic. But Revere and Chelsea and our gateway cities were hit hardest during that pandemic. Our students were hit hardest during that pandemic. Our teachers, our schools. We know how it impacts our communities. And it's legislation like this that's going to make a difference. That's going to give students more resources, that's going to give students more support, because we know that those resources and that support go so much further than the classroom. As a proud graduate of the Revere Public School Systems and now a legislator, I've seen firsthand the impact of strong, supportive, and diverse educators in a student's life. Representation matters, not just for inspiration, but for outcomes. I'm so incredibly proud to stand with you today who believe in this work. And I invite everyone tonight to enjoy not only the celebration, but enjoy the city of Revere. Welcome. I hope that after this event you stay. I hope you enjoy our restaurants, our community, head over to Chelsea. They have some great things to offer too. I'm a little biased. I love Revere and Chelsea. It's a really special place. But thank you all for being here again. This is an incredible, incredible room from our educators, our union leaders, our elected officials, our leadership team in the schools, our superintendents are here. That really says so much, Amanda, about everything that you've brought together, about the coalition that you've built, and about how important this work is. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I'm really excited to be in our schools in 2030 and look around and see the difference that this legislation's made. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative Janino, for your tireless advocacy. And so actually, last year when we had our big Hill Day at the State House and we brought over 100 legislators, students, families, and educators, Representative Janino was our host. And so it was really because of that big event that I think we were able to help push the legislation across the finish line. So thank you so much for all of that advocacy. And now, because I am also biased, I would love to welcome our Revere Superintendent, Dr. Kelly, to invite you into her district.
Thank you so much, Jackie. It's really a pleasure to be here with all of you and to welcome you into our Revere Public Schools. We've got a number of our principals who are here tonight, as well as Assistant Superintendent Lorenzo Garcia, who I want to recognize. In Revere, we are very proud of our diversity. In fact, over 64% of our students identify as Latino, so they are our largest population. We celebrate our diversity because we fully understand that student achievement rises when students see themselves in their teachers. Student achievement rises when students recognize the adults around them as similar to their parents, their aunts, their uncles, and other trusted adults. And student achievement rises when students feel that they are not othered, rather that they belong fully as their whole selves, even as they are growing and learning exactly who their whole selves are. We've been very proud recipients of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's Educator Diversity Grant for several years. And I am proud to say that our staff diversity has increased from 5% to 16% in that time. And our number, importantly, our number of Hispanic professional staff in our classroom has nearly tripled in the same 5 years. We still have a very long way to go if we hope to see our staff ratios approach those of our students. But we are on the right path. And none of this work would be possible if we didn't have a local community, especially our school community, who supports our work in diversity. And when others are calling out things like, get rid of the Assistant Superintendent for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Diane Kelly should be fired because she does all of these diverse things, and nonsense like that, we have elected officials and elected leaders who stand behind us, hold us up, and push us forward. And that's exactly what our students need. So I am incredibly thankful to our local elected officials, especially Mayor Keefe and Ms. Monterosso, who's the vice chair of our school committee, who keep us on path at all times. We definitely have a lot of reasons to worry about public education and how it will or won't be funded in these day and ages. The passing of the Educator Diversity Act gives me great hope. I'm thankful to Latinos for Education, to our state legislature, and to our state leaders for meeting this historical moment and for allowing the Revere Public Schools to be part of it. On behalf of the children of the Commonwealth, particularly those in Revere, we thank you.
Listen, getting up and off those stools is really working this little one. But we're going to keep going, so thank you so much, Dr. Kelly. I also want to acknowledge Senator Pavel Bayano, who has joined us. Thank you so much for being here. And now I would like to welcome the Commissioner of Department of Higher Education, Noah Ortega.
Buenas tardes a todos. I'm Noe Ortega. Can you hear me? Yeah, the Commissioner of Higher Education. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and I really want to thank Latinos for Education for the invitation to be here. Amanda, thank you so much for inviting me and thinking of the Department of Higher Education also as a presenter today. I've been in Massachusetts 3 years. And one of the things that I'm really, really grateful for is the kind of support we have from our state leaders, advocacy groups, to really think about elevating education and truly investing in it, and thinking about doing things like passing a Educator Diversity Act. People often question, well, why do you need a law to tell you the thing that we all know is important to do? Is because from time to time, if we find challenges, it's a reminder that we have to stay the course to ensure that we fulfill and live up to some of the goals that we have in terms of diversifying the field. One of the things that I remember most coming out of the pandemic is all the conversations that people were having around the learning loss. How are we going to get our students to recover? How are we going to put them back on that path in order for them to be successful? And for me, that solution has always been pretty simple. Sure, you can invest all you can into trying to resolve the problem, but one of the things that you need to do is that you need to make sure that the composition of educators in the field reflect the demographics and the lived experience of the students in our classroom. If you get them and achieve that, you're going to change the life and transform the success of all the students in the classroom. That's what the diversity of educator field means for the success of our students. I'm tired of people trying to challenge that. I'm trying to say that that's not a thing that's important to do. It truly is the most effective way to address that. And it's not just about what the teacher in the classroom looks like. If the counselors, if the staff, if the people in the school look like they do, share the same experiences, that's a changer. Now, I know that we emphasize the importance of a Diversity Act or the Educator Diversity Act being able to change the composition of the field. It does another thing that's extremely important. It makes diversity the business of everyone. It's not just about the people who look like those students that need the most support taking on the challenges of making sure that they're successful. It's the job of every single individual in that school to recognize the importance of what it means to be culturally appropriate in their approaches to teaching and pedagogy. That collection, an act like this reminds everyone that those are the things that are most important. I'm really pleased that the one solution that makes also a game changer is when more folks who look like me feel like they can access college and universities. And one of the ways that we could do that is to make sure that affordability is no longer a challenge. This administration, in the past 2.5 years, has changed the course of affordability conversation, not just in this state, but nationally, making community college free, making access to all our public four-year institutions also free, particularly for those students who need the most support. We're not done. And to the legislators in the room, we're going to come around and keep asking for your support to keep building on this legislation. In order to change the composition, there's got to be more people who fit that definition going into our college campuses. And lastly, for all of us who've worked in the field, I started off my career as a toddler teacher, spent 7 years teaching 2-, 3-, and 4-year-olds how to navigate the system of education, getting many of them into a pipeline of success. My partner still does that to this day. And I think what's very important is that we figure out a way to elevate the importance of the profession, to understand and recognize that when those students are sitting in the classroom, they're looking at people like us to determine whether or not that's a pathway they want to take. It is the most transformational career path that anyone can take. If you want to be a true change maker, and I tell young people this all the time, be a teacher. They change and transform the life of every single individual. That is what an act like this is going to do and make a difference. And so from the Department of Higher Education, from my colleagues as well in early ed and elementary and secondary education, you can expect that we continue to be an advocate for this, that we continue to figure out how to transform things to make sure these pathways and access to these campuses, college campuses all around Massachusetts, do what it is that this Diversity Act intended to do, and that is to really transform and change the field. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm going to get out of the way so we can listen to the other speakers, in particular the Lieutenant Governor who just showed up. And so thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. Felicidades. We did it, right? We did it. To our fearless leader, Amanda Fernandez, who started Latinos for Education with the same dream that all of us have, which is how do we make the difference? And when she started this organization and she started talking to people about what to do, the possibilities were great, and she put her heart to it the same way that each and every one of you do every single day. And one thing that she would always tell all of us was representation does matter. And so the next two people I'm going to bring here, they're part of a class that is brand new. There was a time where there were only 2 or 3 Latino and Black legislators in the State House. Now we have over 17. And we're lucky not only that we had Representative Janino here, but we also have 2 senators from 2 incredible cities, from Lawrence and from Springfield. So if we could take a moment, gentlemen, so you can come up here to say hello to everybody. And when I say representation matters, it matters because these gentlemen were working tirelessly with us in the beginning of their careers to make this a center stone of what was going on with this particular bill, along with the number of legislators out there. I brought them up together because it feels real nice to be around 2 big, tall guys, you know, especially since I'm wearing heels right now. You know, I'm trying to get up there. I'll never be there. But it's really a moment of pride for me to have these 2 gentlemen here. First, Senator Adam Gomez from the great city of Springfield. Welcome, Senator, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Before I say anything, when I was coming to the State House as an advocate, the person that absolutely to me has always been legendary has been the great Jeff Sanchez. And I got to give him his flowers right back. Jeff, he has definitely paved the way for a lot of us, especially un orgullo latino, un orgullo boricua, un orgullo dominicano. Pero enough about Jeff because we already know. Sorry. No, I'm here with my friend from the Senate. A person that I call a brother, Pavel Piano from the great city of Lawrence. Him and I are the first Puerto Rican, first Dominican Americans ever elected to the Massachusetts State Senate. And it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be able to work alongside him and the rest of the Black and Latino caucus, because I think we're upwards around not 17, but I think we're at 23, 24 Black and Latino elected officials this year. How many are we? Yeah, we got a couple, but
26.
26. I knew that number was high, but the truth is that this work doesn't happen by itself. And honestly, we can thank the legislatures, we want to thank the chair people, but I want to really give the flowers back to the community. I want to give the flowers back to the organizations, the unions, the parents, the teachers, the folks that were on the ground, collective, really knocking on doors, sending emails out to the other legislators, the other 90 co-sponsors that made this a possibility, and then obviously made it easy for us to be able to advocate for this. And to see and come from 2 cities that are majority Latino in our school system, and then talking to the great mayor here of Revere, Mayor Keith, that he had also told us that in the last couple years, the Latino community has grown 5 times the number of here in the school system, and that's happening all over the state, right? Even after COVID, and this right here, this is a testimony of hard work, dedication, and perseverance, but then also now, we heard the commissioner state that if you want to be a change maker, be a teacher. And it was a teacher that instilled values in me to be able to teach other people how to fish. And I know people have heard that before. And when you have somebody in front of you that looks like you, we're building a pipeline of new educators that are not only Latino, that are only going to be Black, that are only going to be from different ethnicities, but kids that are be able to adapt to them and then make sure that the educators that we're creating are going to be working in this school that the great representative came to. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to my left, make sure that he says a couple words as well. But honestly, today is a celebration not only of passage of this act, but a celebration of what the future is going to look like. And you guys are all a testimony to that, so thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gomez. So one of the great things is following Senator Gomez
is that usually he says everything that needs to be said. But what I'll say is that I'm really grateful for the entire group of folks that have been advocating for this. I was, my parents were teachers. I was also an educator for a little bit. And I remember when I first started, there was a young man that some of the other teachers said, forget about him. Listen, everything's been tried. He doesn't want to learn. And sure enough, I would go to Jason, and Jason would be like, yo, I don't want none of this. I don't care about school. Move on. It turned out that Jason couldn't read too well. And Jason is a kid who was from Lawrence, and I'm like, I can't give up on Jason. So after 2-3 weeks, I was finally able to get him to do math. This young man could do math, like math that I would need to do in the calculator. He could do it in his head. And after 11 months, he was able to go from remedial math, like really, really low, to Algebra 1, which was it's huge, right? That's how brilliant he was. But I just kept thinking about all the teachers that just passed him over throughout. And it's different when you know the community, when you're able to connect with somebody in a different way, where he knew that I respected and loved him, and that was what moved him to start doing work. And then afterwards, he'd come up to me and he would say, I'm a good math student. And I'm like, yo, Jason, yes, you are. And I think that's what this bill, speaks to. So I want to thank you for doing that work, because it means that there's going to be a lot more Jasons out there that are going to get the help that they need. So thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Senators. Thank you, Senators. I don't know, like I said, it's a big deal to see all of these Latino elected officials, and again, because there was a time, and recently, that we didn't have this. So now we got to support them in everything that they do. At the same time, we're very fortunate that we have someone who she busted her chops on the ground. And she engaged in her community, and she recognized and valued the people that were such a power in her own community and valued them. And in that, she became the mayor of the great city of Salem. And she transformed a city that was kind of sleepy and put it on a map. Well, yeah, there's witches and all that stuff up there, but a million and a half people were not visiting the city of Salem when this woman took over that town. I'm just saying. It is on a global map and a global stage, and she's taking that power to the State House on every single day throughout the crisscrossing the Commonwealth. I got to when she ran for lieutenant governor. I remember walking to the parade in JP with her, and she was no joke. Like, trying to keep up with her was no joke. She burned through heels like I was like blown away how she was just crisscrossing back and forth, and people were loving her, and we love her, and we're grateful for having you here. Our Lieutenant Governor, Kim Driscoll. Lieutenant Governor.
You are so awesome, Jeff. Thank you so much. And I've been looking forward to this event all day, really. I am so grateful for the hard work and the time and attention that so many of you have put in. Amanda, the entire team at Latinos for Education, for getting this important bill passed as part of the Mass Leads Act, and more importantly, the work that we're going to be able to do together. So I want you to know, there are sometimes at the end of the night you're like, oh my gosh, I got a lot to do. That is not the case. I am really delighted to be here. It's great to be here with Superintendent Kelly, who's doing amazing work in Revere. Our own Commissioner, Noe Ortega, how amazing is he? Yeah, he's done game-changing work in higher ed. Many of you know we are bringing on board Pedro Martinez as our new DESE Commissioner. Think about that team for a minute, and K through 12 and higher ed, and the opportunity to work together. Mayor Keefe, always great to be with you. Representative Giannino, who's here. I didn't see Rep Turco. He may have been here earlier. Rep Cruz, my former school committee member, my own representative in Salem. Always great to be here with you. And obviously, Senator Payano, Senator Gomez, so many folks who are here to celebrate this amazing organization. You know, I think you all know here in Massachusetts, we consider ourselves to be national leaders in education. We've been ranked the #1 state for education, the state with the highest number of college graduates, the #1 state for innovation. It's part of our DNA and our calling card in the Commonwealth, and we're incredibly proud of the leadership that we have helping ensure that when we say we're number one, that we also recognize that we're not number one for all, and that we have work to do in this regard. We saw it with the most recent testing that came out. The gaps are actually getting larger, right? We're still number one, hooray, but until we can really start to close those gaps and be number one for all, we're not gonna rest. Back in November when Governor Healy signed that economic development bill, the Mass Leads Act, it had an important provision. Of course, we want to invest in industry, support a strong economy, continue to make sure we can have outstanding ways for people to earn a living and give back to this Commonwealth. But I think one of the more important provisions that we probably don't talk about enough is the Educator Diversity Act. As you all know, this law establishes multiple pathways for ed certification, a statewide data dashboard, increased uniformity in hiring practices. We want to support those equitable opportunities for folks with different backgrounds and promote diversity across the educator workforce. You know it because you informed it, you wrote it, and then you worked like heck to get it passed. And I just want to say thank you for leaning in and helping us all do a better job of educating students in this Commonwealth. I want to also say that it's giving us great excitement to be in a position to help operationalize your hard work. Despite the noise coming out of Washington right now, we are trying to invest in diversity. We are not, you may have heard the governor say it, we are not changing who we are. We don't say DEI anymore. We say diversity, equity, and inclusion because we believe those are not only important values, they lead to better outcomes in every arena. In the business world, in the education world, we're not going to shy away from that. And it's one of the reasons, in addition to the work that you all have done to pass the Ed Diversity Act, we've also been taking on work to make it easier to establish a more equitable educator workforce, alternative assessments for the Mass Test for Educator license, and increasing the number of talented educators we have here in the Commonwealth. Because we know when students have teachers who look like them, who understand where they come from, who understand their culture, students do better. It's really that simple. It's not a hard premise. We all want to be able to relate to people. And when you see people who you can relate to, you want to be able to deliver for them. So having educators of color allow our students of color the opportunity to see themselves. But I think it's also important to note that's not the only work we're doing when it comes to thinking about how we support students. Our administration over the last 2 years has expanded access to high quality pre-K. We've got high-quality reading instruction now in place in many of our schools, helping to support that. We've ensured that we're thinking about high-dosage tutoring coming out of that pandemic. How do we make sure we're jump-starting the opportunities to help close those gaps? More seats in early college, more seats in career and tech ed. We're going to make sure there's a fairer process for entry into career and tech education schools. We are feeding kids in school breakfast and lunch. Everyone gets that opportunity. And as Noe mentioned, we've made community college and higher ed, community college free and higher ed much more affordable. Personally very important to me as a Salem State grad, public higher ed grad, who could hustle all summer and make their tuition and fees and go to school. That wasn't the case for a really long time. We're making investments not only for economically disadvantaged families, but for middle income families who want to be able to send their children to school and have an opportunity to give back to their community. And that investment in public higher ed pays off because our public higher ed grads stay in Massachusetts. They're future teachers and nurses and business owners and entrepreneurs who are going to support this Commonwealth and be our future generation of leaders. So we're going to continue to make those sorts of investments. And the good news is we're not just making investments, we're actually putting it on the schools to deliver for us more accountable. 9 of our community colleges are HSIs, Hispanic Serving Institutions. My alma mater, Salem State, HSI, are just about to be. I think they're right before. And 2 weeks ago, I was at the Fitchburg State presidential inauguration, and that president said, we are going to be on the road to an HSI. People understand this. Our fastest growing student population are our ELLs, and our fastest growing population in the Commonwealth are our Latino population. Investing in opportunities to ensure that all people can thrive, all people can have this opportunity to go to college, seek a career, be successful in those outcomes is not just good for those students and families, it's good for Massachusetts. So I just want to say, really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for what you've done. Congratulations on this historic achievement, getting this bill passed. It's been talked about for a long time, but you got it done. And I'm just so grateful that we're going to be in a position to put it to work. And no, as I said, we're bringing on Commissioner Pedro Martinez. I refer to him as the other Pedro Martinez in Massachusetts. Right, so he's Pedro Martinez 2.0 for us. And, you know, he is somebody who brings both a lived experience and incredible skills to this effort. I can only imagine what we're going to do together. So stick with us. We got work to do, but we're committed to doing it, and we're counting on you to help us. Thanks and congratulations.
Thank you, Governor. And Governor, if you can stick here, I'm going to ask that those that are elected, can you come up here just so we can take a quick picture? And then also those those folks that are part of our Educator Diversity Act Coalition, could you wait for a minute, because we want to make sure that we recognize us collectively with you as well. I bring everybody up together, but that'd be the whole room at once, right? So we'll do electeds, and then when you do coalition members, that'd be great too. So electeds.
Can we do a celebration? Yes.